Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a good one today. I'm Nick, and we finally reached the last entry in the Terminator franchise with Terminator Dark Fate. And just like all the other Terminator reviews, I am not alone in this series. Go follow Jason Nike on his YouTube channel, The J-Man's Movie Cave, where he is also doing reviews for the Terminator franchise and then doing his ranking. I will drop a link in the description, guys, if you want to go check him out. And don't forget, all my social medias are also down in the description if you want to check those out. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video. It really helps me out. And let's get into this. So Terminator Dark Fate was released in 2019. It stars Mackenzie Davis, Natalia Reyes, Linda Hamilton, Gabriel Luna, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this was directed by Tim Miller. So the plot to this film is nothing new, guys. Decades after Sarah Connor ended Judgment Day, a Terminator is sent back to the past once again to take out a new leader of the Resistance, a girl named Danny. Now, Danny, with the help of an enhanced soldier named Grace and Sarah Connor, must stop the new Terminator. So like I said, guys, the plot to this one is pretty familiar. We've seen it before. Instead of Skynet in the future, it's named Legion. Just like how in Genesis it was Genesis instead of Skynet. But yeah, Sarah Connor thought that she ended Judgment Day in 97. But shortly after, another Terminator was sent back and actually was successful in killing John Connor, which created this whole new future in this new timeline. Now, right off the bat, I just want to say that I didn't mind them killing John Connor at the starting of this film. There's a lot of people that took that right to heart, and they're like, how dare you? And I would be able to understand that if this movie came out right after T2, because we still get a very young John Connor. It's the same one from T2 at the starting of this one. But so much time has passed since T2, and we've gotten so many sequels, so many different versions of John Connor by this point, as an adult and whatnot. So to me, going back to him as a kid and then killing him off didn't really bother me as much. It probably would have been terrible if they would have done this right after T2, but so much time has passed, I feel like it's okay at this point. And our new lead in this one is named Danny, the new leader of the Resistance. She just doesn't know it yet. This is much like Sarah Connor in the first Terminator, where she's getting told all this information. She has no idea how important she is in the future. She's a very likable character. She takes care of her family. She's very responsible. And in the future, she becomes the leader of the Resistance. So technically, she's like the new John. Since they killed off John in that timeline, it created this new timeline where Danny is the new savior of mankind. And the biggest negative I have with Danny is just the fact that she's so forgettable. Like, she doesn't do anything real memorable. Like, she doesn't have a personality that stands out or nothing. So over time, she's very easily forgettable. And we also get Grace, which is sent back from the future to protect Danny and try to stop this new Terminator. She's an enhanced soldier from the future, so she's human, but she has machine qualities to her, like she can see super far off in the distance and such. Is basically a human that got a big upgrade. And I really like this character. She has an attitude to her. She's a little snotty at times, but I like that. It makes her stand out a little bit more. She doesn't look like much of a soldier, but in the future, humanity will take anybody they can get, right? So I don't fault her too much for that, but I really do enjoy her attitude and her character traits. And I really wish we got more like hybrid characters like this instead of trying to redo the T-1000 over again and whatnot, because we got Marcus in Terminator Salvation, which I thought was a great character, part machine, part human. I even like the idea of John Connor in Genesis, how he is infected and he's pretty much like an evolved version of human and machine together. And in this one we get like a hybrid human that is just more enhanced. And I think those characters are really interesting because you're not sure how the human side and the machine side are really going to work together and their thought process and whatnot. And I just think it's so much more interesting than just redoing the Terminator over and over again, right? And speaking of the Terminator in this one, he's called the Rev 9, and it's pretty lame if you ask me. Like I said in previous videos, they can never come up with a real good idea for a Terminator ever since T2. And this one basically just copies T2 again. We get another liquid metal bad guy villain, except they try to mix the T800 and the T1000 together. Like, this guy can split off into his liquid form while the exoskeleton stays behind, almost like the T800, and he can like battle people with two forms, which, I don't know, seems a little far-fetched to me, a little ridiculous, and doesn't really make much sense. It's like, why does he need that metal interior if he's liquid metal? Like, it doesn't make much sense. But like I said, it seems like they ran out of ideas completely for these Terminators. And aside from that, he's just not very intense. Like, he's not menacing to me at all compared to some of the older Terminators that we got. And yeah, just the look of him, he just looks too plain. And of course, we get the legacy character of Sarah Connor returning in this one. It basically does the Halloween 2018 with this one, where it like deletes all the sequels except for T1 and T2, and we get Sarah after T2 and the events that happen. And this is a very broken, distraught version of Sarah Connor. This is a version of Sarah that failed, that lost her son John Connor to the Terminator. So she blames herself. She's kind of losing it. She basically goes around hunting these Terminators with these coordinates that she keeps receiving via text, even though she doesn't know who's sending them. They always seem to add up to where the Terminator is going to land. So she follows them, and that's basically what she's been doing since T2. And I gotta be honest, at first I wasn't really warming up to her. I was like, this just feels like a cheap way to bring back people to the theaters. Oh, we're bringing back Sarah Connor, just like, oh, we're bringing back Laurie Strode or whatever. But as the movie goes along, you start to feel for her and see how broken she really is, and just how much losing John really messed with her. And especially when she gets to confront the Terminator that did it, which of course Arnold plays again. And Arnold's always great as a T-800. I feel like this version of the T-800 though is much more human than we've ever seen, since it's got to live like a human life. It has a family and kids and everything. So over time it started to understand what Sarah was going through after losing John. So he felt it was his duty to send her the coordinates to take out these new Terminators. It was him that was texting Sarah Connor. And I thought that was a cool little twist. It's too bad that they kind of showed him in the trailer, so you're expecting him the whole time. He only shows up like an hour in the film, but since we're expecting it, it wasn't a big like wow moment. But I really feel like they should have probably kept that more secret. It would have hit a lot harder, I feel. And Sarah really has a lot of beef with this Terminator. Like, he seems so nice in that, even though you know he murdered John Connor. And he even admits it. But he's trying to right his wrongs. And but Sarah's just not having it for the majority of this movie. She wants him dead. She's ready to take him out at any moment. And who can blame her? But it was just really cool to see Carl, which is the T-800's name in this one, like almost gain a conscience over time with hanging around with humans, which just proves that the machines can change too. Again, the action sequences are alright, just like in Genesis, but I feel like again, they're covered up with way too much CGI, takes you out of the film a little bit, makes it a little less realistic, even though this is not realistic anyway, but it takes away the realism when you add so much CGI. Your brain picks that up. I much prefer the practical effects. And aside from that, most of the action we've seen before, like these car chases. We basically got car chases in every one of these films. Like, they really have to start to come up with new material for their action. And for the love of God, can you guys please stop it with the one-liners? Like, with the I'll be back and all this crap. We've heard it 1,000 times. It doesn't sound cool no matter who says it anymore. Leave those one-liners in the past and try to come up with something new. Like, you're no longer hitting those nostalgia chords or anything because we've heard it so many goddamn times. And even though this film kind of recycles a lot of the same ideas we've seen 100 times before, and the action is just okay, I do still like a lot of the characters, especially Grace. I think she's great. And Sarah Connor is great as well. And even the T-800, since they made him more human, I feel like we're getting a little bit of a different version of Arnold this time, which is great because we've seen the same shit so much. But all in all, this is a very entertaining film, even though it has its flaws. Like, if you just take this as a popcorn flick, you're gonna have a good time, and it's definitely not a terrible sequel. I just really wish that they wouldn't play it so safe all the time and just be a little bit more ambitious with their story and try new things, you know? And yeah, that's all I have to say about this film. Here's my rating, guys. If I have to rate this film, I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10. Like in all my previous reviews, none of these sequels can ever touch the first two films, and they never will. And they gotta stop trying to be those films and just try to do its own thing. Like Salvation did its own thing, and that's one of the best parts about it. It's just too bad that movie had other problems. But either way, this is an enjoyable sequel. So this is where you guys come in. Let me know what you guys think of Terminator Dark Fate. I know this movie has a lot of haters, but I'm not one of them. I can still enjoy it. I'm a fan of this franchise, so you even give me these more mediocre sequels, and I still have a good time with it because I'm just a fan of these type of flicks. And I'll be sure to be back shortly with my ranking of the entire franchise, but until then, thanks for watching.